Welcome to this video about sight words. I'm so excited to share about this topic today because I think that sight words are one of the things that's really challenging for people when they're trying to teach their kids how to read. A lot of kids really hate sight words or really struggle with sight words, and there are just some unique challenges in teaching our kids how to read sight words. And so today I want to share just basically what you need to know about sight words and some tips for you in teaching sight words to your child. Please go ahead and hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel so that you'll get notified whenever new videos are released. Okay, so the first thing that we need to talk about is what are sight words? And basically a sight word is any word that your child can read right away just by looking at it without having to sound it out using their phonics skills. So for different kids, the list of sight words that they can read is going to be different. And it can be kind of confusing because there are also sight word lists of words that are suggested for kids to memorize so that they can read them without phonics. But your child's sight words are going to be whatever words they can read right away without having to sound them out. On the sight word list, there are usually some high frequency words. These are words that kids could sound out if they needed to, but that appear so often in text that it can be helpful for them just to memorize them. And the sight word list also usually includes some irregular words. Those are words that kids can't sound out on their own and will have to memorize as sight words. There are several reasons why sight words are important when kids are learning how to read. The first one is that when kids can recognize sight words, they'll be able to read faster. They won't need to sound out every word in the text that they're reading. This can also help make reading easier because kids won't have to stop and sound out every word, so they'll be able to move through the passage more quickly and they'll be more confident in their abilities. This will also allow them to read more quickly and to enjoy reading more. And when kids know more sight words, they'll be able to read more independently, which is very important for kids who are learning how to read. It's important to know that when your child is learning how to read, teaching them sight words by themselves is not enough. Kids also need to learn how to sound out words using the skills that they understand from phonics in order to become good readers. There are two different lists of sight words that are very common. The first list is the Dolch sight word list, and this is a list of 220 words that's divided up by grade level from preschool all the way up through third grade. So there's a list for each of those grade levels of suggested sight words for kids to memorize. The words on the Dolch list include 80% of the words that are found in children's books and 50% of the words that are found in books overall of any level. There is also another sight word list that's called the Fry sight word list. By the way, these lists are just named after the person who created the list. But the Fry list contains 1,000 commonly used words, and this list is a more modern upgrade or update of the Dolch list. And this list is not divided by grade level. It's just divided into groups of 100 words. So there's 10 groups of 100 for a total of 1,000. Kids who know all of the words on the Fry sight word list will be able to recognize 90% of the words in books that they're reading just because they're on that list. One of the questions that I get asked really commonly is, what order should I teach the sight words? And the answer to that one is that you can choose any order that you would like, depending on your child and the kinds of books that they're reading. It can be really helpful to start with the most commonly used sight words first so that kids can find those words in the books that they're reading. It's also really important to start with just a few sight words at a time. Teach sight words in groups of maybe 3 to 5 words or so, and make sure that your child has lots of time to practice with a small group of words before moving on to the next group. So you don't want to introduce the entire list of sight words to them at once, but just break them into groups of just a few words at a time. I also have another video where I talked about different fun ways to teach sight words, and I'll put a link to that video in the description to this one. So hopefully this video has been helpful and given you some things to think about when you're teaching sight words to your child. Please feel free to share in the comments how learning sight words is going for your child and any tips or takeaways that you have for teaching sight words.